Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to another season of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. I am your host, Anthony Florio. Delighted to be joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher. We are awaiting the presence of Michael Bolick. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we should have him back with us Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. Another NFL season already here, the 101st in history. For MF and I, it was our 27th. And what a way to start it off with the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs squaring off against the Houston Texans just 48 hours ago at Arrowhead Stadium. And the Kansas City Chiefs won the game by a score of 34-20. Patrick Mahomes already in midseason form, 3 touchdown passes. Defense recorded 4 sacks and an interception. But the standout of the night, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, 138 yards rushing and a touchdown in the win, picking up right where he left off from his LSU days. But very, very nice win for Kansas City. They fell behind early, but this time they only fell behind 7-0, not 24-0 like they did the last time they met in January. But nonetheless, Kansas City, very impressive, to say the least. And Houston made a little noise towards the end, but it was too little too late. They dug themselves too big a hole, and that was it. And Chiefs go to 1-0, and next week they will make their first ever appearance at SoFi Stadium when they square off against the Los Angeles Chargers. Whereas the Houston Texans, they don't have it any easier. They got to go home to NRG Stadium, and they have to host the Baltimore Ravens. Oh, boy. Now, that's a double whammy for Houston. But Deshaun Watson looked good. David Johnson had a solid game for them. Not having DeAndre Hopkins definitely showed. There's no question about that. And this could end up being a long year for Houston, like we talked about in our preview show on Tuesday night. But nonetheless, Kansas City definitely looking like that team that's gonna make that could be the best bet for a back-to-back Super Bowl champion. Something we have not seen since the 03-04 New England Patriots. So there you have that. So nothing really more to say. I'm going to bring in good old MF Michael Fletcher now. So MF, we saw it on Thursday night. Kansas City Chiefs picking up right where they left off from their Super Bowl win in February. And it looks like if they keep doing if they keep playing like they did on Thursday night, this could be the year we see a back-to-back Super Bowl champion.
I mean, there's really no debate about it. Absolutely, you're correct on that. Kansas City looked amazing. It took a little bit of some time for them to get the ball rolling. They did have an opportunity where they did score a touchdown, but got called back because it was an incomplete pass. The ball got dropped. So I mean, yeah,
twice in the game.
Twice in the game. It looked like they had surefire touchdowns, but I guess, using some Japanese animation, they got caught in a genjutsu. Basically, it wasn't what we thought it was. So, it was all imaginations in the minds. But don't worry, Kansas City fans. It was only minor hiccups. It wasn't like it was a big blunder. So, you guys went on to do what you got to do, handle your business as always, and yeah, they looked really good. And yeah, Kansas City now gets to go to SoFi Stadium, that beautiful stadium that's now completed and built. And of course, everybody's also waiting for some other games as well. So yeah, SoFi's gonna be pretty busy as we'll be going throughout the night. But Kansas City looked great. Houston looked good at the beginning. David Johnson looks like the David Johnson of old. If he gets going for Houston might be all right. They might be in a tight position, but like you said, Anthony, next week, now they got to play Baltimore behind. Oh, man. I mean, the The scheduling gods were not kind to the Texans at all. Nothing more to add, Anthony. It's time to get into the Sunday slate. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. And we're gonna do a hard reset here. I will start it off, and we'll pick it up. So and maybe we'll let you in on how our crews will be affected as well. But so that's all there is to say on that. So here we go. First game on the docket. It will be on Fox, and it will be the Seattle Seahawks squaring off against the Atlanta Falcons from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Adam Amin, Mark Schlereth, and Lindsey Czarniak will have the call of that one. Seattle opening up as a 1.5-point favorite. Seattle leads the all-time series 11-6. They met in Atlanta last season, and Seattle won that one by a score of 27-20. Falcons have not beaten the Seahawks at home in a regular season game since 2007. That's the last time they beat the Seahawks at home in a regular season game. They do have 2 playoff victories over Seattle at home, though. 2012 and 2016 divisional playoff games. But this is the regular season, not the playoffs. So just wanted to get that out there. So, all right. So without any further ado, let's get into Seattle and Atlanta. And this is what we got. Todd Gurley is expected to play a significant role as the Falcons' new top running back. The team monitored his reps during training and during training camp to make sure his left knee and body are fresh for the regular season. Although Gurley won't be asked to fully carry the load, he could bring a much-needed run game threat to what has been a pass-happy offense. A bold prediction, Seahawks defensive back Marquise Blair will make a game-changing play. He had the best game of his rookie season against the Falcons in Atlanta with a team-high 11 tackles and a key forced fumble. Blair was one of Seattle's standouts at training camp as he transitioned from safety to nickelback, and he should see action in that role Sunday against the Falcons' 3-receiver-heavy offense. The stat to know, Seattle quarterback Russell Wilson leads the NFL with 100 passing touchdowns over the last 3 seasons. But Atlanta's Matt Ryan is 3-2 in his career versus Wilson, including playoffs, and has won the previous 2 matchups. What to know for fantasy? Matt Ryan. Now, MF, I couldn't help but notice you drafted Matt Ryan in our fantasy football league that was put together by our dear friend Mike Keenan. You drafted Matt Ryan, and I got some news for you on this. I don't know if it's good or not. Matt Ryan has been a top 5 fantasy quarterback through the first 6 weeks in each of the past 2 seasons, and faces a Seahawks defense that allowed the 6th most passing yards last season at 4,223. So that's some good news for you there, MF. The betting nugget, Matt Ryan is 12-5 against the spread in his career as a home underdog. Seattle is a slight favorite by the FPI. They come in at 52.1%. And I am going to go with the Seattle Seahawks to win this game. My final score, 26-23. Seattle beats Atlanta. So nothing more to say. MF, Seattle and Atlanta leading things off from Mercedes-Benz Stadium tomorrow.
Yes, and it's going to be a very interesting matchup, no doubt about it. It's going to be a good game. Seattle is definitely, actually, a lot of people predicting could win the West. They're one of the favorites along with the 49ers. And of course, a lot of people think that they do have expectations to possibly make it all the way to the Cup final. So, I mean, to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll have to see. Atlanta looks like they might be on a rebuild. I'm not going to say it's a total rebuild, but they are talking about possible rebuild for this team. Matt Ryan, like you said, is always very good at the beginning, and we just got to go from there. So we'll wait and see how that plays out. But Seattle's got so many weapons that they could beat you with. From Russell Wilson to DJ Metcalf to Tyler Lockett to Chris Carson. A vaunted defense that is actually starting to look like the old Legion of Boom again. And that could be enough that can get by Atlanta. Even though I think Atlanta, with Todd Gurley now, a part of the team that could be a major help for them. We'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks to win it 24-17. Nothing more to say, Anthony. The next game.
And MF will start it off, and we're on our side of the ledger, the AFC side of the ledger. Of course, Super Bowl 55 is on CBS this year. Awesome. So it's on the mothership. So that's always exciting. And our first game that we're going to get into from our side, it will be, well, one of our games of the week. No question about that. It's definitely in our top three. No doubt about it. The Cleveland Browns squaring off against the Baltimore Ravens, M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore. This is on CBS. We have Ian Eagle, Charles, and, well, here we go. Ian Eagle, but he's got a new broadcast partner. I don't know if any of you know, but Dan Fouts and CBS parted ways. So Ian Eagle has a new broadcast partner. You may know this man. He's worked with the likes of Gus Johnson on Fox, and he's also worked with the likes of Kevin Burkhardt on Fox. And now he's the number 2 analyst on CBS, Charles Davis. Welcome to CBS, my friend. So it'll be Ian Eagle, along with new hire Charles Davis and Evan Washburn. They will have that one. And the Ravens are opening up as 7.5-point favorites. Series history, very one-sided. It's all Baltimore in this one, 31-11. However, both teams split during the regular season last year. But Cleveland won in Baltimore last year, 40-25. But it was too little too late to save their season, though. Ravens' last win was 24-10 in 2018. So that's really all there is to say on that. So MF, Cleveland and Baltimore, one of our games of the week. I know it's in the top 3. I don't know if it's number 2 or if it's number 3, but I know it's definitely one of our upper echelon games of the week. Cleveland and Baltimore should be a fun one,
especially in the AFC. I believe it's game number 3 in our cruise. So yeah, no, without a doubt, this is going to be a great game, no doubt about it. For Baltimore, it's basically a revenge. Basically, the sour taste in the mouth from last year. A lot of people thought this was the team that was going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. And quite frankly, after the season that they had, it was a complete and utter disappointment. Let's be realistic, Anthony. With the hype and with everything that they had going into that series, a lot of people were thinking Baltimore was going to be the team to beat. They got the defense. They got the MVP in Lamar Jackson. They got a great running game. They got the receivers. Everybody was penciling them in to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. And all of a sudden, a little team called Tennessee came up, punched them in the mouth, and down went Baltimore. Baltimore is seething after this, and basically, this is their moment where they're like, you know what? Yes, it's all about the Chiefs, but that should have been us. We should have been in Miami. We should have been the one raising the Lombardi trophy. We should be there, and we're going to prove it this season by making the run to Tampa and going to the Super Bowl this year. So there's a lot of expectations for the Baltimore Ravens. For the Cleveland Browns, it goes like this. So much hype, so much that everybody was thinking, oh, this team was gonna be a breakout. This was gonna be their year. They're finally gonna get out of the basement. Yeah, let's see how that played out, huh? At the end of the year, Baker Mayfield was almost average to mediocre. Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. were somewhat existent, not a lot. They were mostly non-existent. Then you had Grubbs, and you had Nick Chubb, and you also had Kareem Hunt, and they were all right. They weren't completely perfect. It wasn't the greatest thing out there, but they gotta get better. This is a make or break season for Cleveland as well, because there was so much money that they put into that team and so much expectations that if Baker Mayfield does not succeed this season, Cleveland might be looking for a new quarterback. I'm sorry. Baker, your time is now. This is the moment this either makes you or breaks you more than ever before. And for this team to go up against the Baltimore Ravens with that defense, this ain't gonna be pretty. I got Baltimore winning the game 31-14. Anthony, it's yours.
Okay. The first category in my category of notes is what to watch for. I forgot to mention that in the last game. That's the first thing. You already know the others, but here we go. What to watch for? The Ravens will be coming after Baker Mayfield. In Baltimore's Week 4 loss to Cleveland last season, the Ravens blitzed 34% of the time, and Mayfield picked apart the secondary for 342 yards. In the Ravens' Week 16 victory, they ramped up the pressure, sending 5 or more rushers 56% of the time and limiting Mayfield to 192 yards passing. Bold prediction, rookie running back J.K. Dobbins scores 2 touchdowns in his Ravens debut against a shorthanded Browns defense down multiple starters due to training camp injuries. Dobbins had 8 multi-touchdown games last season at Ohio State. The stat to know, Browns running back Nick Chubb recorded 1,494 rushing yards last season, second most in the NFL, behind Tennessee's Derrick Henry, who had 1,540, and a season-high 165 of them, along with a career-high 3 rushing touchdowns, came against the Ravens in Week 4. But that isn't the only rushing attack to watch. Baltimore led the NFL with 206 rushing yards a game. What to know for fantasy? The Ravens might have spent the 55th overall pick on Dobbins this spring, but Mark Ingram had 2 of his 4 best games of last season in the first 3 weeks and is one of just 4 players since 2001 to have rushed for 6 scores in 6 consecutive seasons. He joins the likes of MF, listen to this lineup, LaDainian Tomlinson, Adrian Peterson, and Sean Alexander. Now that's a lineup. The betting nugget, Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is 8-1 against the spread in his past 9 regular season starts. And Baltimore is a decent favorite. The FPI has them as a 70.3% favorite. So, yeah, Matt, you're right. It's Baltimore. No doubt about it. I'm going to go 34-17. Baltimore beats Cleveland. So, nothing really more to say on that. And now to our next game, staying on the AFC side of the ledger. Speaking of teams that have hype and promise, how about my Buffalo Bills as they open the season at home at the newly named Buffalo Bills Stadium at home against the New York Jets? And this will be over on CBS, of course. And on the call for that one will be Andrew Catalon, James Lofton, and AJ Ross. And Buffalo opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. Very encouraging. Buffalo leads the all-time series regular season-wise 62-56. Both teams split last year. They won on the road, which meant the Jets won in Buffalo last year, 13-6. Buffalo's last win, well, it's been a little while since the Bills have beaten the Jets at home. You got to go back to 2015. Actually, no, I'm sorry, 2017. My mistake. 2017. Buffalo won 21-12 at home against the Jets. So with all that being said, let's get into the Jets and the Bills here. Okay. What to watch for? This is Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen's first game together, and it comes against a mediocre Jets secondary. Look for the third-year quarterback to target the Bills' new star wide receiver often as they continue to build chemistry. Bold prediction, the Jets will score only 1 touchdown, and it won't happen until late in the game. In his past 6 games against Sean McDermott coached defenses, Adam Gase's offenses have not scored more than 21 points, and the average per game is just 16.5. The Jets offense has so many new players that it's hard to imagine an efficient performance. Stat to know, Jets quarterback Sam Darnold went 6-2 over his final 8 games last year, throwing 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. His first 5, 1-4 with 6 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. What to know for fantasy? Excuse me. The Bills' Allen has just 1 touchdown pass in his career against the Jets in 78 passes thrown. But he has scored 25.9 fantasy points with his legs in his 2 full games against the divisional rival. the betting nugget, the underdog has won 4 of the past 5 meetings outright in this series. Buffalo is the FPI favorite, coming in at 62.9%, just about 63%. Sounds good to me. Of course, I'm going to go with my team. I'm going to go with my Buffalo Bills to win this one. I think they'll win this going away. 31-10, Buffalo all over the Jets. Nothing more to say except MF. Speaking of teams with promise, last year that team was Cleveland. This year it's Buffalo. Can they live up to that promise? I hope so.
Well, we're going to have to wait and see. I mean, the schedule definitely looks very promising early in the season. Buffalo definitely has a chance to really make a name for themselves. And remember, this year of all years, there's 7 teams in each conference that's actually going to get into the playoffs. So they've really opened it up now. So unlike other years where it's only the top 6, now it's the top 7. Buffalo could easily get in. You know, if they don't have a great season, if they don't win the division, getting second place might actually assure them to get in. So it just depends. So yeah, without a doubt, Buffalo's got a great team. This year, defensively, they're a lot more stronger. Offensively, they look incredible. That Stephon Diggs move is going to come out to be a gold mine for Buffalo. Let's be realistic. They got a decent running attack, and, you know, we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. But they're going up against the Jets. The Jets we're talking, guys. Nah, Buffalo wins. 30-13, my final score. Buffalo will go 1-0. Anthony, it's yours.
All right. And next game, and it will once again be from our side of the ledger, the AFC side of the ledger on CBS. It will be the brand new Las Vegas Raiders squaring off against the Carolina Panthers at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. CBS did a little bit of some shifting in their broadcast teams. This is the new number 4 team. Greg Gumbel is now the number 4. Number 4. He swapped spots with Kevin Harlan. Harlan's now up to the 3 spot. We'll get to his game in a little bit. Greg Gumbel will be calling this game, and he's got a new broadcast partner. His new broadcast partner is none other than Rich Gannon. Greg Gumbel will be with Rich Gannon, and they'll also have Jay Feely, as they will be in Charlotte for that Raider-Panther game. And according to my spreads here, the Raiders are opening up as 3-point favorites. The series history, it's tied at 3-3. Oakland won the last meeting in 2016 in Oakland, 35-32. Last meeting in Charlotte was 2012. Carolina won 17-6. Raiders have only won in Charlotte once. That was in 2004. That was a 27-24 win. So really nothing more to say. So MF, Raiders are now in Las Vegas. And for the Carolina Panthers, it's now life without Cam Newton.
Teddy Bridgewater becomes the starting quarterback for the team. You also got Christian McCaffrey, which by far had one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen last year. And now, with a new coach, with a new system, now you're going up against a Raider team that is underestimated. I think a lot of people don't really believe that they're going to do much. However, again, now that they've opened up the playoff window, maybe the Raiders could sneak in. They definitely have a shot. I think what is going to happen is if Bridgewater stays steady, and he did a tremendous job last year filling in as the number 1 quarterback for the New Orleans Saints when Drew Brees went down with that hand injury, and he went 5-0. If he gets that consistent play, Carolina wins. No doubts in my mind. Carolina walks away with this victory. But this is one of the toughest calls of the week. I'm actually going to go with the Las Vegas Raiders to knock off the Panthers. Because I think they're going to try to break them down, make them one-dimensional. They're going to stack the box, and they're going to try to take McCaffrey out of the game. They're going to force Teddy Bridgewater to win this game. And I don't know if Teddy's going to be able to do that. I got the Raiders winning very close, 21-17. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, we got a lot of news coming out of the sports world here. First things first, the Los Angeles Lakers have put away the Houston Rockets, 119-96. Lakers going to the Western Conference Finals in the NBA playoffs. Stanley Cup playoffs, the Dallas Stars. Wow. They defeat the Vegas Golden Knights 2-1. Dallas now leads the series 3-1. Stars are 1 win away from their first trip to the Stanley Cup Finals in 20 years. What a story that team is, let me tell you. And so we definitely wanted to address those couple of things. So now back to this. What to watch for? Carolina ranked as one of the worst teams in the NFL at stopping the run last season, allowing 143.5 yards a game. And the Raiders ranked 13th in rushing offense with 118.3 yards a game. So keep an eye on how the addition of first-round pick Derek Brown, a defensive tackle out of Auburn, and the return of Pro Bowl defensive tackle Kawan Short from injured reserve bolsters a run defense that new Panthers coach Matt Rule says will be key. Bold prediction, a high-scoring college football-style shootout is in the offering. Didn't Rule and offensive coordinator Joe Brady just coach in college? We've been watching Baylor. We've been watching Temple. We've been watching LSU's offense. We've been watching the Saints offense. Raiders coach John Gruden said to get ready for the Carolina offense. With Christian McCaffrey and Derek Carr, I'm calling for a bunch of points. The stat to know, the Panthers have just 46% of last season's snaps returning in 2020, fewest in the NFL. And that includes 34% of their defensive snaps, the fewest in the NFL by 15%. The Raiders are second lowest in that department at 49%. What to know for fantasy? Carolina's DJ Moore quietly tied for the third most games as a top 20 performer at wide receiver with 9. And over the past 2 seasons, the Raiders have allowed the 7th most points to opposing receivers. Betting nugget, new Panthers quarterback Teddy Bridgewater is 16-2 against the spread as an underdog, the best record in the Super Bowl era with a minimum of 15 starts. Las Vegas is a slight favorite, only 51.4% according to the FPI. But nonetheless, I'm going with the Oakland Raiders to win this game. 37-34. I'm going with Las Vegas to win this game. It's going to take me a while to get used to calling them the Las Vegas Raiders instead of the Oakland Raiders, but is what it is. But Vegas wins this one, 37-34. All right, now we're going to shift gears back to the other side, the NFC side of things, and we have one of the great rivalries in NFL history, an old school Norris division rivalry. The Chicago Bears squaring off against the Detroit Lions from Ford Field in Detroit. The legendary Dick Stockton, God bless him. He's on the call for this one. He'll be working with Jonathan Vilma and Shannon Spake. And Detroit opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. But Chicago leads the all-time series going away 101-74 with 5 ties. And Chicago has won each of the last 4 meetings. They've swept each of the last 2 years. Chicago winning in Detroit 24-20 last year and 23-16 in Detroit the year before that. Detroit's last home win against Chicago was 2017. That was a 20-10 final. So on to the Bears and the Lions. What to watch for? Bears starter Mitchell Trubisky has shredded the Lions defense over the past 2 seasons, throwing 9 touchdowns and 1 interception. Detroit has the same head coach, Matt Patricia, but a new defensive coordinator in Corey Undlin. Whether Trubisky continues to complete passes at a 74.7% clip against Detroit will be the difference. Bold prediction, Chicago's offense scores a touchdown on its opening drive. Unlikely, right? The Bears' offense struggled horribly in the first quarter last year. In their first 8 games of 2019, the Bears scored 1 touchdown and punted an NFL worst 7 times on opening drives, and they ended the season with 37 first-quarter points. Will the Bears' offense rise from the ashes with Trubisky back at quarterback? Well, maybe, maybe not. But he is usually pretty good versus the Lions. Stat to know, the 2019 Bears offense ranked number 31 in yards per play at 4.7, number 29 in points a game, 17.5, and number 27 in offensive efficiency, 35.4. In all, it had 9 games with fewer than 20 points last season, tied for 4th most in the league. Part of the reason was Trubisky's drop in total QBR from 2018, a plummet that ranked 2nd worst behind only his new backup, Nick Foles, with a minimum of 100 pass attempts. What to know for fantasy? Chicago wide receiver Allen Robinson scored 104.9 fantasy points in divisional games last season, ranking him 4th at the position, behind only Michael Thomas, Chris Godwin, and Robert Woods. Betting nugget, Detroit has 9 consecutive seasons of hitting the over in its season opener, the longest active streak in the league, and the Bears were 1-7 against the spread on the road last season and failed to cover in 10 of the past 12 games overall. Chicago is a slight favorite according to the FPI. They have Chicago as a 55.1% favorite, but I disagree with that. I'm going with the Detroit Lions to win this game. My final score in this one is going to be 23-17, Detroit over Chicago. So nothing really more to say on this. So MF, your thoughts on Chicago and Detroit, a good old-fashioned Norris opener.
Yeah, good old-fashioned Norris opener. And it's going to be a good matchup. It's going to be a good game. There's no doubt about it. I think it's going to be a very interesting situation and a pretty good showdown. We're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry, Anthony, for the first time tonight, we got a disagreement. I got to go with the Chicago Bears. Because of the fact that I really believe that defensively they're a lot more stronger, a lot more better. Khalil Mack was an absolute monster last year, and I really think he's going to just get better. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the level of play that Matthew Stafford has and everything else, but honestly, I just don't see how Detroit gets by them. If Mitchell Trubisky just plays average, doesn't make the big mistake, utilizes the running game, because you got Tyreek Cohen, who's a dynamic player. If you can get the receivers going, if you can get the tight end play, and just the defense alone is they're gonna keep Chicago afloat. As long as Mitchell does not make the big mistake, Chicago wins. I'm gonna go with the Bears, and I think they're gonna steal this one 17-10. Anthony, it's yours.
All right, fair enough. Moving on to our next matchup, back over to our side here on CBS. An AFC South divisional matchup. The Indianapolis Colts squaring off against the Jacksonville Jaguars at TIAA Field, which is adjacent, of course, to the Daily's place where All Elite Wrestling has been doing the Dynamite shows for the last several months. And this is the only the other stadium, other than Kansas City, that's going to have some sort of fan attendance. So that's all there is to say there. And on the call for this one, I believe it'll be, yes, it is Spiro Ditas and Adam Archuleta. They will have the call of that one. And Indianapolis opening up as an 8.5-point favorite. Indianapolis also leads the all-time series, 24-14. Both teams split last year. Both teams winning at home. So Jacksonville won at home against. Matter of fact, the Jags have won the last 5 meetings at home against Indy, including a game in London, England, in 2016. So Indianapolis has not won in Jacksonville since 2014. That was a 44-17 final. So excuse me. So I do believe, MF, you start this one off, and a lot of things here. Indianapolis, new quarterback, Phillip Rivers. They got Jonathan Taylor, the stud running back out of Wisconsin. And Jacksonville, we definitely poo-pooed all over them on Tuesday night. And
oh yeah.
And we have a feeling that this is going to be a long day for them, even though they're going to have fans in attendance, albeit a small pack.
It's going to be about 17,000 fans is what I've heard. But even then, it doesn't matter. Like you said, Jonathan Taylor, you also got Mac, and I think it's going to be the return of the Mac, if you know what I mean. You're gonna the receiving core. That's the biggest liability for Indianapolis. T.Y. Hilton, is he healthy? I don't know for sure. You got Doyle, the tight end. I think they'll be fine there as long as Phillip Rivers doesn't make the big mistake. If Phillip Rivers just doesn't throw like that many interceptions, he's probably gonna throw one. I mean, come on, he has been known to be a turnover machine. Hopefully, he doesn't make that mistake. He doesn't make that many mistakes. But you know, there's going to be a mistake or two that's going to be played. Jacksonville is just a complete and utter mess. Offensively, I don't see anything there. Defensively, they look like a liability. I'm sorry, they're going to have to blow the whole thing up after this season's over. Jacksonville's going to lose, and they're going to lose big. 28-7 is my final score. Indianapolis romps over the Jaguars in Duval. Florio, it's yours.
I think it's safe to say this is the Zonk game of the week. Am I correct on that?
Zonk game of the week and the lock of the week for me.
Okay. So that's all there is to say on that, friends. But nonetheless, what to watch for? The Jaguars have always had trouble with Phillip Rivers. The quarterback is 7-2 against them, completing 69.4% of his passes for 2,668 yards and 24 touchdown passes with only 5 interceptions. And he has led his team to at least 31 points in 6 of the 7 wins. Rivers is 38 and has slowed a bit, but he'll be facing a young, unproven Jaguar defense. The Jags have one rookie cornerback, C.J. Henderson, starting, and 5 of the team's 11 defensive backs are rookies. The only proven pass rusher on the roster is Josh Allen, not to be confused with the Bills' Josh Allen. It's another Josh Allen. And the interior of the defensive line has been ravaged by injuries and retirements. Bold predictions? Well, bold prediction. The Colts will have more than 175 yards rushing. The Jags are in rebuild mode, and the Colts are coming off a 2019 season in which they were 7th in the NFL in rushing. So what better way to show that their success isn't predicated on Rivers' right arm than by having running backs Marlon Mack and rookie Jonathan Taylor rushing behind one of the league's best offensive lines, led by all-pro guard Quentin Nelson. Stat to know, the Jaguars have won 5 consecutive home games against the Colts after going 4-10 in their first 14 home games versus Indianapolis in franchise history. The Colts have lost 6 straight season openers, tied with the Chicago Bears for the longest active streak in the league. What to know for fantasy? Over the past 5 seasons, Phillip Rivers averages 21 fantasy points in week 1 and 16.4 in all other games. He faces a Jags team that allowed the 6th most yards per pass attempt last season, 7.9, and allowed the 5th most big pass plays, 30-plus yards gained. Betting nugget, the Colts are the 5th team since 1970 to be favored by a touchdown or more in week 1 after missing the playoffs the season before. The other 4 teams went 0-4 against the spread. Indianapolis is a decent favorite according to the FPI. Indianapolis is a 66% favorite from the FPI. Indy all day, 31-13, Indianapolis over Jacksonville. So really nothing more to say on that. Let's get into our next matchup, and this is one of the games of the week on the NFC side. The NFC has 3 marquee games in week number 1, and this is the first of those 3 games. On the NFC side, great matchup here. The Green Bay Packers squaring off against the Minnesota Vikings at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, over on Fox. Oh, by the way, we're getting this game on our local Fox affiliate, Fox Providence. Brand new broadcast team. We're going to have Chris Myers with Brock Heward, Greg Jennings, and Jennifer Hale. And we have Minnesota opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. No surprise there. And a lot of series history here. Green Bay leads the all-time series by a count of 61-53 with 3 ties. Green Bay won both meetings last year, including in Minnesota, 23-10. But Minnesota won the year before, 24-17 in 2018. So here we go. Green Bay, Minnesota, one of the big 3 games of the week over on the NFC side. And Here we go. What to watch for? Will Minnesota's Dalvin Cook get a contract extension before kickoff? The running back has no leverage to hold out a Sunday's game and risk not accruing a season toward free agency. But who knows how things will play out as Cook's contract status heads into the 11th hour before game day. But I do believe he did get one. So, bold prediction, the Viking defense will sack Aaron Rodgers 5 times. Minnesota won't have Danielle Hunter, but the Packers will realize they don't have a viable option at right tackle after letting Brian Bulaga leave in free agency. Rodgers was never sacked more than 5 times in any game last season. Stat to know, Rodgers posted a 50.4 QBR last season, his worst since becoming a starter in 2008. But for the second straight season, he threw for 4,000 yards and fewer than 5 interceptions. He is the only quarterback in NFL history to do it even once. What to know for fantasy? 3 of Vikings wide receiver Adam Thielen's best 7 career games have come against the Packers, and now he is set to see a spike in target share following the trade of Stephon Diggs to Buffalo. Betting nugget, since hiring coach Mike Zimmer in 2014, Minnesota is 60, 34, and 2 against the spread overall, 33, 14, and 1 against the spread at home, and 26, 11, and 1 against the spread as a home favorite. All the best marks in the NFL in that span regular season. Minnesota, slight FPI favorite. FPI favors them at 54.9%. I'm going with the Minnesota Vikings to win this game. My final score, 27-23. Minnesota beats Green Bay. Nothing more to say. MF, your thoughts on the first of the big 3 games in the NFC this week?
Yeah, no, this is a big one. This is a huge battle. I'm going with Minnesota as well. Just to give you a quick moment, Florio, yes, Dalvin Cook did indeed resign. It is a 5-year, $63 million deal, $28 million guaranteed on that. So yeah, they did strike an 11th hour deal. So Dalvin Cook got paid before the season began tomorrow, and he's gonna reward Minnesota with a big game. I think he'll go over 100 yards, and he will lead Minnesota to victory. I agree. Minnesota wins 21-13 over the Green Bay Packers. So, Anthony, it's yours.
All right. And now we move on to the game that I'm guessing is going to be the number 2 game on our side of the ledger. The Miami Dolphins squaring off against the New England Patriots, Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Of course, we'll have it on our local affiliate, of course. And on the call for this one, hello, friends. Yep, they're back. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson. They will be in Foxborough for the Dolphins and the Patriots. And let me just get it loaded here. All right. And New England opening up as a 7-point favorite. Miami, though, leads the all-time series 55-51. And last year, both teams split. New England, easy win in Miami, 43-0. But then late last year, I believe it was week 17, I want to say it was the game that turned the NFL season around, literally. When the Miami Dolphins went into Foxborough and beat the Patriots for the first time since 2008, a 27-24 final. I believe our own good old MF Michael Fletcher was at that game.
I was there.
Yep. You were there with some of your dear friends, and oh boy, did that turn the season around in a humongous way. Opened the door for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs got that number 2 seed. New England was in line for it. We all thought New England was going to get it, but no. New England lost. Kansas City won. So Kansas City got the 2. Rest is history. Chiefs went on to win the Super Bowl. Patriots blew up. And that's really all there is to say on that. Obviously, the Patriots won the year before. Easy win, 38-7 in 2018. But nonetheless, oh, man. A lot to get into here. For the first time, I want to say in about 20 or so years, Patriot fans will not be seeing Tom Brady under center. That is now Cam Newton. We'll get to Tom Brady in a little bit, but the Brady era is over, and now it's time to start a new era, the Cam Newton era. Gronk is gone too. So MF, so many stories coming out of this. No more Brady. It's all about Cam Newton now. And you said Cleveland-Baltimore was number 3. I'm guessing this is the number 2 game on our ledger, correct?
This is the number 2 on the ledger, and oh my goodness, a lot of storylines with this game. For the Miami Dolphins, you go back to the scene of the crime 1 year ago, back in January, when they stunned the New England Patriots and caused the biggest ripple effect in all of the NFL. You go back to the very same place that many Dolphin fans would consider the House of Horrors, Gillette Stadium in New England. And this time around, the expectation is a little higher. Not as big as New England's is, but there are expectations to deliver this time around. You're playing with the house money again, because a lot of people, including the experts, once again, is underestimating the Miami Dolphins. But with all the reports that I've been getting from their practices, from their training camp, offensively, they look a lot more loaded than ever before, and probably even underrated right now. But Ryan Fitzpatrick is the guy who's going to start the season. He's leading the troops to the battle on Sunday. If you remember, Fitzpatrick had a great game in Week 17. No interceptions in the game. Through I believe 2 touchdowns, ran for 1, and everybody remembers the big touchdown with 27 seconds left to the tight end Mike Gesicki. And that was the touchdown that ruined the Patriots season and gave Kansas City the number 2 seed. Trust me, Kansas City Chiefs fans are still thanking the Dolphins to this very day for that moment. So, as many of you guys know, the Patriots is no longer about Tom Brady. It's all about Cam Newton. And Newton right now has a renaissance. A lot of people believe that this could be the year that he finally breaks out. Number of injuries that he sustained, number of bad plays. Is he rejuvenated? It looks like he is. That's going to make him very dangerous. The problem with New England is a lot of players opted out. 8 of them has left the Patriots because of the fear of COVID. A lot of it is from the defensive side of the ball. Now, Bill Belichick is a master genius. He's a master motivator. The next man up level. Have they bit off more than they could chew this time around? Miami looks like they're poised for a big run. This might not be the biggest game for Miami. This might not be the perfect matchup. But if you want to talk about a great upset opportunity, and for a shocker this early in the season, this could be it. Miami is primed to pull off a major upset. Remember, last season, they went, 0-7, 0-8 in the first half of the year. And then at the end of the season, I think they pulled off 5 wins. 5 out of the last 8 games, they won. That's why they ended up with the 5-11 record. And that ultimately gave them a lot of momentum going into this season. Now, I think Miami will do a lot better than 5-11. But this is one of those things where it's my heart versus my head. My heart is literally telling me, go with the Dolphins. You gotta go with Miami. This is a prime position for an upset and to go with the Dolphins to knock off the Patriots again. 2 years in a row in Gillette. That's never been happened before. I don't think it's happened since maybe the days when it was the old Foxborough Stadium where Miami's won 2 in a row against the Patriots in Foxborough. I think the Patriots are going to prove that, look, there's a lot to be proven. Newton's got something to prove, that I'm back, I'm better than ever, and that I could lead this team together. Belichick is going to want to coach his butt off on this game because of the fact that he always hears the whispers about it was Brady that got him the 6 rings, not you. So you know Belichick is going to want to make an example and really take it out on the Dolphins. Number one, for ruining last year, where everybody thought, oh, it's going to be New England, they got another run, it's going to be status quo. Miami threw a major monkey wrench in their plans last year, and we all saw what happened. So you know Belichick is going to want to take it out on the Dolphins. 3, the lore of Gillette and being in that stadium. I don't give a damn if it's with a full crowd, 20%, or 0. This place has a weird stigma. If you're a Miami Dolphin fan, you know what that stigma is. You see those 6 banners up in that rafters or up on that wall at Gillette, and you know you're in for a fight. You know New England's going to want to make it a proven point to win this game. And I think they might. They probably will. So this is going to be a fight. This is going to be close. I'm going to go with the Patriots, but it's going to be closer than 7. I think it's going to go the other way around. Final score is 24-21 New England, but I would not be shocked if Miami pulls off the upset again. Because I think with the strategy that what Brian Flores is going to bring and what Chan Gailey has up his sleeve, I think Miami might start resorting back to the Wildcat again. Because you got Bolden and you got Malcolm Perry. You got basically a hidden gem and a Swiss Army knife. I think they're gonna stretch the field out. I think you're gonna see these guys use little wrinkles of the offense. You're gonna see some RPOs. You're gonna see some play actions. And with Matt Breida, with Jordan Howard, you're going to see some power running from the Dolphins. But the problem is, New England, they got a multiple quarterback. And Miami's been notorious for not doing great against mobile quarterbacks. And as a matter of fact, when Cam Newton faced off with the Dolphins, Cam shredded them. That's what I'm afraid of. That's why I think New England is going to win. 24-21 New England. Anthony, it's yours.
MF, I looked into it. I looked into the archives, and you're wondering when was the last time the Dolphins won 2 in a row at Foxborough? Not all that long ago, really. It was 1999 and 2000. That's the last time the Dolphins won consecutive games in Foxborough.
But I believe that was Foxborough Stadium and not Gillette.
Yes,
they've never pulled it off in Gillette yet. They could tomorrow, but
they could.
They could.
They really could. But yeah, the last time the Dolphins won at the Patriots overall in consecutive years, it was 1999 and 2000. So yeah, that infamous 2000 game. Yeah, we all thought the game was over. Several minutes went by, and then they called players out, and players were in their robes and towels, for goodness sakes. Yeah, who'll ever forget that game 20 years ago? That's a memory MF and I will never forget. We had that one back then. But anywho, let's get to this now. What to watch for? Well, we all know what it is to watch for. While all eyes will be on Cam Newton becoming the first non-homegrown quarterback to start for the Patriots since Scott Secules in Week 10 of the 93 season, equally as compelling will be the matchup between Dolphins wide receiver Devontae Parker and Patriots cornerback Stephon Gilmore, assuming both play through hamstring injuries. Parker got the better of Gilmore, the NFL's Defensive Player of the Year, in last year's season finale. 8 catches, 137 yards in a performance that sat with Gilmore all off season. Bold prediction. Preston Williams, not Parker, will lead the Dolphins in receiving, totaling over 100 yards in his first game back from a torn ACL. Parker was the star of the previous matchup between these two teams. But with a healthy duo and extra attention on Parker, Williams will be the main beneficiary of Ryan Fitzpatrick's aggressive downfield throws. Stat to know, Cam Newton will become the 5th quarterback to make his first start for the Patriots since Bill Belichick became the team's head coach. The previous 4 all won that first start. What to know for fantasy? After getting shut out in Week 2 against the Patriots, Parker's 137 receiving yards in Week 17 were the most against New England since Tyreek Hill's 142 in Week 6 of 2018. The betting nugget? Miami was 9-3 against the spread over the final 12 games last season, all as an underdog. New England is the favorite, according to the FPI. FPI has New England as a 70.3% favorite. And with that, I agree with you, MF. I am going to go with the New England Patriots. It will be close. I'm going to go, I got just about the same score, just a smidgen less. I'm going to say 24-20. New England defeats Miami in what should be a fantastic game. And the final 1 o'clock game that we're going to get into now, the Philadelphia Eagles squaring off against the Washington football team. Yes, you heard that right. They're not the Redskins anymore. They're now the Washington football team. Get used to it. Deal with it. FedEx Field, Landover, Maryland. This will be over on Fox, of course. And on that call, it will be Kevin Burkhardt with his new partner, Daryl Moose Johnston, and Pam Oliver. She'll be there as well. And Philadelphia opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. Washington leads the all-time series 85-79 with 5 ties. But the Eagles have won each of the last 6 meetings overall against Washington. Washington has not beaten the Eagles at home since 2016. That was a 27-20 win. Eagles have won each of the last 3 years, including last year, 37-27. So our final early game of week 1. Here we go. What to watch for? There are 2 key matchups. First, keep an eye on Washington's defensive front, the strength of the team versus the Eagles' offensive line, which has been weakened. The second is Washington wide receiver Terry McLaurin against Philly cornerback Darius Slay. McLaurin caught 5 passes for 72 yards in a matchup versus Slay last season when the latter played for Detroit. In 2 games against the Eagles, McLaurin caught a combined 10 passes for 255 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bold prediction, Chase Young will begin his NFL career with a pair of sacks. The Eagles' offensive line had a rough summer, losing a pair of starters, Brandon Brooks and Andre Dillard, to injury, and a third, Lane Johnson, was hobbled for much of camp with an ailing ankle. Jason Peters, age 38, moved back out to left tackle this week after training this offseason at guard, and will have to quickly adjust to fend off Young and the rest of Washington's formidable pass rushers. Stat to know, in 7 career starts against Washington, Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz has a 5-2 record with 15 passing touchdowns. What to know for fantasy? The Eagles ended the 2019 regular season on a 4-game winning streak and led the league in running back fantasy points over that stretch, 163. That run included a game at Washington, Week 15, in which Miles Sanders scored a season-high 35.2 points. The betting nugget? The Eagles have won the past 6 games in this series, covering in 5 of them. Philadelphia, the FPI favorite, at 70.8%, just about 71%. I am going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one. Closer than people think. I'm going to say 24-20. Philadelphia defeats Washington. Washington always gives Philly a great game anyway. So nothing more to say. MF, Philly squaring off against the newly named Washington football team to close out the early slate.
And I got to go with the Philadelphia Eagles as well. I think Philly is going to really play a great game. I think they're going to have their job done, and they're going to do everything that they can do for the most part. So, no, I'm going to go with Philly as well. But I got it more like a 28-17 type game. So 28-17, Philly over Washington. And Anthony, let's start the late games.
And we'll be starting it off in a huge way over on our side. This is the only game that will be kicking off at 4:05. This will be over on CBS, and it will be the Los Angeles Chargers squaring off against the Cincinnati Bengals from Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. This game will be over on CBS, of course, and on the call for this one, it'll be Kevin Harlan with his new team. Kevin Harlan now the number 3. His crew is now the number 3 crew on CBS, and he's going to be working with Trent Green. Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, and Melanie Collins. They will be calling the Chargers and the Bengals. And the Chargers opening up as a 3-point favorite. Chargers lead the all-time series 20-14. Their last meeting was 2018 in Los Angeles, and the Chargers won that 26-21. Last meeting in Cincinnati was 2015. Bengals won that one 24-19. Chargers' last win in Cincinnati was in the AFC wildcard game, January of 2014. Their last regular season win in Cincinnati was in 2006, a wild 49-41 5-star classic of a game there. So with that being said, MF, storylines aplenty in this one. Chargers, they now begin life without Phillip Rivers. I believe Tyrod Taylor's now the man there. But all eyes in this one will, of course, be on the number 1 pick and the man who captured all our hearts in college football last season, Joe Burrow, who absolutely took names, kicked ass, and you know the rest.
Yes, absolutely. But the thing is that when you're now with the Cincinnati Bengals, oh boy, this is not a good matchup. And the thing is that as much as I know a lot of people are talking about Tyrod Taylor was pretty good. He's a pretty good player and everything else. But I think what's going to win the day is the defense. And I just think that the Chargers are a little better. And I just don't think Cincinnati is there just yet. So, unfortunately, sorry to say, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to win the game. So, Chargers, and that's all I'm going to say. Close game, but I got the Chargers winning. So, Anthony, it's yours. I got the Chargers winning the matchup.
Yeah, more than fair enough. What to watch for? As I just said, all eyes will be on Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, who will be starting in his NFL debut. He'll have to contend with Chargers defensive end Joey Bosa, Burrow's former teammate at Ohio State, and a stout Charger defense. The bold prediction is the Chargers defense will pick off Burrow at least twice. The Chargers secondary might be down star safety Derwin James for the season, but watch for their defensive backs led by Chris Harris Jr. and Casey Hayward Jr. to take advantage of the rookie. Stat to know, the Bengals went 2-14 last season in their first year under coach Zach Taylor, tied for the worst record in team history. But Burrow has not lost a game since November 24th, 2018. On the other side of the field, Tyrod Taylor isn't debuting, but he will be the first quarterback not named Phillip Rivers to start a game for the Chargers since the 2005 season finale when Drew Brees started for San Diego. Taylor most recently started in 2018 when he was under center for 3 games with the Cleveland Browns. The record in those 3 games, 1-1-1. What to know for fantasy? Only 3 times did a quarterback score more than 16.5 fantasy points against the Chargers last season. So while Burrow deserves the hype, counting on him breaking Cam Newton's record for quarterback points in a debut, 30.7 in 2011, is not wise. Betting nugget, the Chargers have covered the spread in each of their past 5 season openers. Chargers are the FPI favorite, 57.9%, basically 58%. I am going with the Los Angeles Chargers to win this game. I'm going to go 24-14, the Chargers over the Bengals. So really nothing more to say on that. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the NFC game of the week, if not the overall game of the week, right here. America's game of the week on Fox. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers squaring off against the New Orleans Saints. The Mercedes-Benz Superdome in New Orleans. 4:25 kickoff. You know who's going to be there. To the surprise of no one. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Aaron Andrews. They will have it. And New Orleans opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. Series history favors the New Orleans Saints 35-21. Saints have won each of the last 3 meetings with the Bucs, including a sweep last year. Saints winning 31-24 in the Dome last year. But Tampa Bay went into New Orleans the year before in 2018 and stole one from New Orleans 48-40. That wild game. I believe that was on opening day as well. So, oh my. Here we go. It's a matchup for the ages. Tom Brady against Drew Brees. This will be the first game in NFL history with 2 starting quarterbacks over 40 years old. And both teams are decidedly, quote-unquote, Super Bowl or bust because of it. Brees has not officially declared this as his final NFL season, but acknowledged this week, I'm on borrowed time. I've got nothing to lose, so I'm turning it loose. Bold prediction, Brady and Brees will combine for 600-plus passing yards and 5 touchdowns as both continue to defy Father Time. Perhaps this is a sneak peek at the NFC Championship game. Perhaps being the key word. Stat to know, Buccaneers tight end Rob Gronkowski has caught 78 touchdown passes from Brady, the 5th most by any quarterback-receiver combo in NFL history, and just 2 shy of passing Dan Marino and Mark Clayton for 4th on the list. What to know for fantasy? Brees' past 2 home games against the Bucs have resulted in 50.3 fantasy points, an 81.9% completion percentage, 5 touchdown tosses, and 0 interceptions. Betting nugget, Brady is an underdog for the first time in his past 75 regular season games, ending the longest active streak of being favored. New Orleans is the FPI favorite, 59.3%. They could have big games. Both could have big games, but I don't know if it's going to be as high scoring as the experts think. But nonetheless, it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a 5-star game. I really do. I got the New Orleans Saints winning, but not as high scoring as you think. 26-23, New Orleans beats Tampa Bay. And MF, there's nothing more to say except NFC game of the week, and you can make an argument for overall the game of the week in week number 1. Brady versus Brees. This is what the words main event were meant for here, I think, because this is, I believe, the main event of week 1, and brother, it don't get no bigger.
You know what? When the NFL made the schedule, these are the matchups that they hoped to see. These are the matchups that they were hoping to get. To get a battle, a war, like the Saints and the Buccaneers. And normally you're thinking, all right, yeah, cool, two teams, divisional rivals, the whole 9 yards. It changed everything the minute they found out that Brady was coming to Tampa. And then all these other players were on their way to Tampa. And it elevated the rivalry even more further than ever before. So, yeah, this is it. This is it. There's nothing more to say about it. You can't get any better than this. So, I'm going to go with New Orleans to win as well. I think they'll get the job done. My final score is 31-27. New Orleans over Tampa. Anthony, next game.
And it's the other 425 game. This will be over on Fox as well. It will be from the NFC West, and it will feature the Arizona Cardinals squaring off against the San Francisco 49ers, or I should say your reigning, defending, undisputed NFC champion, San Francisco 49ers. Levi's Stadium in San Francisco. This one over on Fox, and on the call for that one, it will be Kevin Kugler with Chris Spielman and Laura Oakman, and San Francisco opening up as a 6.5-point favorite. Series history in favor of the 49ers. They lead at 31-26. San Francisco won both meetings last year. First time they did that since 2013. including a 36-26 win in San Francisco last year, snapping a 4-year losing streak because the Cardinals had won each of the previous 4 meetings in San Francisco before last year. So there's really nothing more to say. MF, Arizona, of course, as you all know, they made a big splash. They got DeAndre Hopkins, huge for them, especially with Kyler Murray. But for the 49ers, can they avoid the Super Bowl hangover?
I think they will. I think they're just as dangerous, just as loaded. The only problem is they did lose Matt Breida to Miami. So that's one less running back that they're going to have. But they still got a quality team. Deebo Samuel is out. That's a major loss for the 49ers. That could hurt them. But you got you still got George Kittle. You still got Jimmy Garoppolo. You got a good running attack with Tevin Coleman and the crew. They're going to be fine. But what makes them dangerous is the defense. That defense was so lights out. And let me say it. If it wasn't for that fourth quarter comeback by Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl, we'd be talking about the Lombardi Trophy going to San Francisco for the 6th time in their franchise history. And they were well on their way to the Super Bowl. They were right there. They had it. They were about 10 minutes away from hoisting the trophy before the comeback happened. So the Niners will be fine. They're going to be strong, and once they get all their horses back, they're going to be dangerous. But again, the problem I have is Murray is inexperienced. He's good, but he's not great. I love the fact that they're going to have DeAndre Hopkins and Larry Fitzgerald that's going to shadow everything. So that could probably help them out in the grand scheme of things. But defensively, I don't like Arizona's D. And that's going to be the big problem. Even though if it turns into a track meet, Niners win easily. Because I think their defense is way better than Arizona's. That's why I got the Niners winning. Because I think their defense is going to rise up and make more plays than Arizona does. Niners win, and I think it's going to be 24-14. San Francisco knocks off Arizona. So, Anthony, it's yours.
What to watch for? Have the Niners put their Super Bowl disappointment behind them? Is Arizona ready to take the next step to contend after some big offseason additions? These teams played a pair of thrillers last season, with the 49ers winning both by a combined 13 points. If this one looks similar, it could portend a season full of heavyweight brawls in the loaded NFC West. Bold prediction, DeAndre Hopkins' Cardinals debut will be one to remember. The newest member of the Arizona receiving corps will have 150 yards and 2 touchdowns from quarterback Kyler Murray, showing how far they've come together in a short amount of time and issuing a preview of what's still ahead. Stat to know, the Cardinals were 1-5 in division games last season, their worst record since 2012, and they lost both of their games against the 49ers. But Arizona hasn't lost 3 straight to San Francisco since 2012-13. Murray, who in 2019 became the 6th quarterback with 3,500 passing yards and 500 rushing yards in a single season, will have to have a big game to avoid 3 in a row. What to know for fantasy? 2 of Murray's top 5 games came against the 49ers last season, and that was without a pass catcher, wide receiver, or tight end, scoring 16 points in either of those games. Hopkins, though, has 16.5 fantasy points per game for his career and 19.8 over the past 3 seasons. Betting nugget, the Cardinals are 4-0-1 against the spread in their past 5 against the Niners, whereas the Niners are 3-15-2 against the spread in their past 20 games as the home favorite. San Francisco is the FPI favorite, 70.4%. I'm going with San Francisco. A little higher scoring than you think and a little closer than you think. But I'm going with San Francisco to win nonetheless. I think they'll eke it out. 31-27, San Francisco over Arizona. So nothing more to say except now we're going to get into the primetime slate of action. And we're going to start it off with the third and final big game in the NFC. The Dallas Cowboys squaring off against the Los Angeles Rams in the beautiful, brand new SoFi Stadium. It's open. That's the good news. The bad news, there will not be fans. What a damn shame. I mean, could you imagine what that place would have looked like with fans inside? Oh, Lord. That's all I can say there. But SoFi Stadium, the first significant event in the stadium's history. A lot of construction, COVID and the whole 9 yards, a lot of problems and delays. They were supposed to have some events there, but none of them happened. But they're finally going to be open for business tomorrow night. I cannot wait to see this thing in action. This is the most excited I've been for a stadium opening since probably the Cowboys Stadium 11 years ago. But nonetheless, Cowboys and the Rams, NBC, Sunday Night Football. We just saw these folks on Thursday. We're going to see them again on Sunday, tomorrow night. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. They'll be on the call. Dallas opening up as a 2.5-point favorite. Dallas leads the all-time regular season series 14-12. They met last year in Dallas. Dallas won going away 44-21. It'll be their first regular season game in Los Angeles since 1990. When the Dallas Cowboys won that one, 24-21. Rams last beat the Cowboys at home in LA in 1986. But their last overall meeting in LA was the NFC divisional playoff in January of 2019, where the Rams won that one by a score of 30-22. So, all right, here we go. As soon as it loads up here. Okay. What to watch for? The Rams defense returns stars Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, but under first-year coordinator Brandon Staley, the unit will face a tall challenge in stopping Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, and the top-rated 2019 Cowboys offense directed by second-year coordinator Kellen Moore. Staley, whose defense is expected to emulate the Bears and Broncos, must find a way to keep the Cowboys from gaining the 263 rushing yards they piled on the Rams late last season. Bold prediction, Prescott will see a pass intercepted. Not bold, in 4 season openers, he has thrown 131 passes without having a pass picked off. To close last season, Prescott did not have an interception in the final 4 games. Stat to know, last season, Prescott became the 5th player in NFL history to pass for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions in an opener. And after compiling 4,902 passing yards in 2019, the second most in franchise history, he could join former quarterback Tony Romo as the only Cowboy quarterbacks with consecutive seasons of 4,000 or more passing yards. What to know for fantasy? The Rams held wide receiver Michael Gallup to a season-low 6 yards in Week 15 last season, but he caught 10 passes for 196 yards and 3 scores over the final 2 weeks of 2019 and saw his ADP rise throughout draft season this summer. Betting nugget, the Rams are 1-8-1 in their past 10 games as a home underdog. Rams, the smallest FPI favorite, 49.9%. Basically, it's a 50-50 here. But I'm going with the Dallas Cowboys to win this game. My final score, 28-21. Dallas spoils the Rams' debut in SoFi. So, nothing more to say. MF, one of the great NFL rivalries, mainly in the 70s, renewed about some 40, 50 years later. The Dallas Cowboys, the Los Angeles Rams, Sunday Night Football, and MF, after so much hype and so much whatnot, hullabaloo, what have you, MF, bro, we're going to finally see SoFi Stadium in action. And damn it to hell, I cannot wait.
Yeah, it just off the pictures and the look of it, it looks absolutely astronomical. I mean, there's 2 big openings this year. There's that one, and then there's the one in Vegas. I mean, it's gonna be exciting to see them both live. To see the stadiums as is. But I gotta say it. The Cowboys are on a mission. And many people believe this could be the year that they make it all the way to the Super Bowl. So, obviously, you got to go with Dallas to win the game. I think they're going to get the job done. So, That's my prediction. I'm going to go with Dallas. So I really got nothing more to say. So, yeah, Dallas wins. And Anthony, let's go on to the Monday Nighters.
Yes, Monday Night Football. And in week one, you know what that means. Double header. And it's for the opening week only. And we're going to start it off with the Pittsburgh Steelers squaring off against the New York Giants, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey, in the Meadowlands. And how about this? On the call for this game, and I'm not kidding you, Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit, and Maria Taylor. They are going to be working this game. How about this? So, yep, they're going to have it. And the Steelers are opening up as 6-point favorites. Series history favors the Giants, though, 44-30 with 3 ties. Their last meeting was in 2016 in Pittsburgh. Steelers won 24-14. Their last meeting in New York was 2012. Pittsburgh won that one 24-20. Giants have not beaten the Steelers at home since the old Giants Stadium, 30-10 in the year 2000. So MF, the first half of the Monday Night doubleheader, Steelers and Giants. Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit on the call. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I truly believe that Pittsburgh will get the job done. I think Ben Roethlisberger is turning it around, and I know a lot of people are expecting them to have a big turn, and I think they will get the job done. So yes, I think it will be Pittsburgh winning the game over the Giants. And I think it's going to be an easy game. I think it's going to be a 27-10 final. Pittsburgh will get the job done. They'll knock off the Giants. Nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
What to watch for? It's Ben Roethlisberger's first game back from an elbow injury that required surgery. Without a preseason this year, he has not played in a game since week 2 of last year. Will Roethlisberger instantly be back to his previous form? It might not be so easy for the 38-year-old. All eyes will be on the future Hall of Fame quarterback against the Giants defense that has some deficiencies on the back end. Bold prediction, Pittsburgh running back James Conner rushes for over 100 yards against a leaky Giants front. The running back is entering a contract year coming off an injury-plagued season. Fully healthy, he's going to capitalize on the chance to be the Steelers' main tailback and run all over the Giants. Stat to know, Daniel Jones will be the first Giants quarterback not named Eli Manning to start a season opener since Kurt Warner in 2004, as well as the second youngest Giants quarterback at age 23 to start the opener in the Super Bowl era. The youngest was Jerry Goldstein in 1977. Jones had 20 touchdowns and 3 interceptions versus man coverage last season, but 4 touchdowns and 9 interceptions against zone, per ESPN metrics powered by NFL Next Gen Stats. The Steelers defense led the NFL in total QBR 24 and interceptions 14 when playing zone coverage. What to know for fantasy? No better time to be healthy than week 1. And in 8 career games with 20-plus touches, Conner averages 29.3 fantasy points per game, 10 touchdowns in those games. Betting nugget, the Steelers are 16-2 outright and 10-8 against the spread on Monday night under Coach Mike Tomlin. Pittsburgh is the FPI favorite, 59.3%. I agree with you, MF. I got Pittsburgh winning as well. A little more on the final score. I'm going to say 27-14. Pittsburgh beats the Giants. So nothing more to say except one last order of business, and it's the other half of the Monday Night Football doubleheader. That first game will be starting around 7 or so. This one will be around 10:30. It will be the Tennessee Titans squaring off against the Denver Broncos from Denver, Sports Authority Field at Mile High in Denver. And on the call for that game, it will be Steve Levy with Brian Greasy, Louis Riddick, and Lisa Salters. I believe they're going to be the main Monday Night Football crew starting in week 2. So let me see here. Tennessee opening as a 3-point favorite. The series history, it favors the Tennessee Titans 22-16 with a tie. However, Denver won in Denver last year against Tennessee 16-0. Tennessee, actually, the Tennessee Titans franchise has never won in Denver, but the last time they won in Denver, it was as the Houston Oilers in all the way back in 1987. So it's been a long time coming. And that was a 40-10 beatdown, by the way. So Titans and Broncos to close it out. What to watch for? How will the Broncos' youthful offense with Drew Lock starting his first season opener at quarterback respond to the moment? The Broncos' plan to lean on the defense early in the season took an immense hit Tuesday when Von Miller suffered what might be a season-ending ankle injury on the final play of practice. But they stumbled out of the gate 0-4 last season, largely because of an offense that couldn't get out of neutral. Bold prediction, Ryan Tannehill and the Titans passing game will come out firing. Wait a minute. Wait. MF, I think you were supposed to start this one. Am I correct on that? Now that I just had a little dipsy-do.
No, that's all right, but you can go through. You can take it. It's your. Go ahead. You already started. Finish it.
Yeah, I may as well. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. It's all right. No problem.
Yeah, it's the excitement there. That's really all it is. Oh, wait a minute. Wait. No, I think I do. I think I was in the right on this. So I do apologize. It's been a long show, but then again, when you have 15 games to go through, I mean, that's it's not easy. So anywho, no, it is me. Okay. All right. I do apologize, folks. All right. I believe I was in the bold prediction. Yeah. Ryan Tannehill and the Titans passing game will come out firing away against a Bronco defense that will stack the box to stop running back Derrick Henry. As a result, both A.J. Brown and Corey Davis will finish with 100-plus yards receiving. Why is that bold? The most recent Titan duo to finish with 100 yards receiving each was Justin Hunter, 109, and Kendall Wright, 103, in a 23-19 win over the Raiders on November 24th, 2013. Stat to know, the Titans were 9-4 with Tannehill starting at quarterback last season, including the playoffs, after beginning the season 2-4 under Marcus Mariota. And the Broncos were 4-1 with Locke as their starting quarterback versus 3-8 with everyone else. Locke will become the second youngest Bronco quarterback at age 23 to start the season opener in the Super Bowl era. The youngest, of course, we all know, the Hall of Famer, the legendary John Elway. What to know for fantasy? The Broncos were the 7th best defense in terms of preventing yards after contact during the second half of last season. Those gains will need to be sustained as they face Henry, the 5th highest scoring running back in 2019, and the leader, minimum 500 carries and yards after contact since he entered the league in 2016. But note that Henry had season lows in rushes 15, rushing yards 28, and rushing yards after contact 23 in week 6 at the Broncos last season. Betting nugget, the Titans are 6-2 straight up and 7-1 against the spread in their past 8 Monday night games. For the first and only time tonight, the FPI got this one wrong. They actually have Denver as the favorite. They have Denver as a 53.6% favorite. Sorry, FPI. I wholeheartedly disagree with you on this one. I have the Tennessee Titans winning this game. My final score, 27-14. Tennessee beats Denver. So, MF, the Tennessee Titans, simply put, looking to prove that their run to the AFC Championship game last year was not a fluke.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I also agree with you on that. I also got the Tennessee Titans to win. I believe the final score will be 31-17. I got Tennessee. I think Ryan Tannehill will have a good game. I think Derrick Henry is going to go wild. And especially now that there's no Von Miller, that opens the door for Derrick Henry to have a monster night, to say the very least. So, yeah, I agree with you. I do believe that the game will end, and it will be Tennessee winning the game. So, nothing more to say, Anthony. Time to call it a night.
Indeed, we will. And that will put the bow on this season premiere of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in this evening. We will next be with you Monday night for Ridiculously Raw. Raw in your face, 4 huge matchups. We will, of course, you already know we're going to see Asuka square off against Mickie James for the Raw Women's Championship. We're also going to have that big champion versus champion match. Raw Tag Team Champions, the Street Profits, against SmackDown Tag Team Champions, Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. But 2 new matches were added to the card. Seth Rollins will face Dominic Mysterio in a steel cage match. Whoa. And then on top of that, if you thought that couldn't get any bigger, WWE champion Drew McIntyre will go one-on-one with the limitless Keith Lee. Whoa. I cannot wait to see how that all goes down on Monday night. Plus, my Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and 205 Live as always. No show Tuesday unless something comes up. Wednesday, we'll have Wednesday Night Mayhem. MF will have that, Brace Bay 95. And we'll get into we might have AEW. I think we might have AEW Dynamite now. And then we'll also have NXT. We'll see. Thursday, College Football Thursday, another small slate of games. Not exciting, I'm afraid, but it is what it is. Friday, Cerebral Smack Talk. MF will have that. We'll get into Friday Night SmackDown as usual. And then 1 week from tonight, week 2 of this program, and some interesting matchups to get into on that one, such as the Baltimore Ravens against the Houston Texans. You got the Rams against the Eagles, the Broncos against the Steelers. But the big games, the 3 big games, the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers SoFi Stadium opener, but the 2 primetime games next week. The New England Patriots against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle on Sunday Night Football, and Monday Night Football. And MF, listen to this. That Monday night game in week 2 will mark 50 years to the day that Monday Night Football debuted on ABC. Now, that matchup back then and 50 years ago was the New York Jets against the Cleveland Browns. This time around, what a way to honor the 50th anniversary. This is a 50th anniversary showdown. The New Orleans Saints and the Las Vegas Raiders in the Las Vegas Raiders new stadium. Oh, Lord, is that going to be fun? So those are just some of the games, and we'll get into all of it next week in week 2 of NFL Saturday next week. So that's it. So until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, it's Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dede Woodson, and always and forever, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up, Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed rest of your weekend. Enjoy all the football, and until Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, you've been watching the season premiere of Strictly Sports NFL Saturday right here on Atone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.